And bam, bam, bam. The Miami Dolphins have fired Josh Boyer. And a big moves are a coming for the Miami Dolphins. It is Tinfoil Hat Thursday. Very late night edition, but we are throwing it on. We're slapping it up. And here we are, a rolling. Welcome back to Tinfoil Hat Thursdays, everyone. It is me, Nando, and the Miami Dolphins have fired Josh Boyer and three other coaches: our outside linebacker coach, our assistant linebackers coach, and our safeties coach. Bada bing, bada bam. All Brian Flores guys. So I really do think there are big moves coming here to the Miami Dolphins. I really do think that big shakeups are happening. You know how Tinfoil Hat Thursdays go. I ramble on with the tinfoil hat on, give my wildest speculations and thoughts. Perfect for a late night show vibe, honestly. I'll be going up to 30 minutes because I am trying to, go to bed, honestly, but, get right before midnight time and a vibe along. So we'll be able to still get that Thursday show in. Thank you for those who have waited, the patience. We'll be talking about the defensive moves. Losing our defensive coordinator means a big switches, a big coach, big swing, hopefully coming soon, as well as, like I said, getting rid of those Flores guys. Looks like Grier is finally cutting those ties, allowing Mike McDaniel to pick his own defensive coaches. The first thing that means is no more excuses, none of this, no blame for anyone else. Entering year two, it is going to be a coaching staff handpicked by McDaniel and Grier. Supposedly, all his guys. We already got a bunch of offensive guys last year. This year, he gets to choose a bunch of defensive guys. There seemed to be some friction with McDaniel and Boyer, and that's fine. Not everybody has to get along. Not everyone has to be friends. But for all intents and purposes, they moved on. Snip, snap. They have chosen a new coach. I didn't realize how much light reflects off this little hat, but what are the Miami Dolphins going to do? I hope that the Dolphins bring in a big-time defensive coordinator. At first, when we didn't fire Josh Boyer initially, it seemed like he was going to keep his job. It seemed like his performance against the Jets and the Bills was good enough to keep him here in Miami. I heard Big Fangio was shopping around, already getting some interviews, and I thought, well, it looks like we're going to sit tight with Boyer. Well, that was not the case today. They snapped, fired him. To me, that's my initial speculation was, oh snap, we're getting a big name. They probably put their feelers out there once they realized they can definitely upgrade from Boyer, because mixed bag, mixed performance from him. There was some injuries to be dealt with for sure, some additions on talent, but Boyer had moments on defense where he had stunning performances, like the Bills game, like the Jets game, absolutely blanketing the Jets or absolutely wrecking havoc against the Bills. And he also had games like the Lions where we were just letting up points left and right. There was games like the Bears where Justin Fields was tearing us up on the ground. So a mixed bag by Boyer. I don't think necessarily he deserved to leave or lose his job, but if Grier and McDaniel believe they can make an upgrade, they can make a big boy swing, a guy like Vic Fangio, maybe someone like Todd Bowles, I could be down. I could see that vision, and I would be willing to bet that that is why we let go of Boyer, because we are going to make a big move, a big swing incoming. And I like to see that from the Dolphins. I want them to be aggressive. I know that in the press conference, Grier and McDaniel were saying that they don't want to make too many moves, but screw that. I've got to believe there has to be more on like the players' side, because considering we are a little strapped for cap space and assets and whatnot. But on coaching staff, if you believe you can make improvements somewhere, if you believe that you can upgrade the scheme, maximize this personnel, do it. Okay. If you bring in a big time defensive coordinator like a Fangio, like a Todd Bowles, I have to believe that is to reinvigorate this defensive side, reorganize, re-energize them, and then just get them after just shutting down consistently throughout an entire year. Okay. Again, credit to what Boyer did, but consistency was lacking. That staying power needed. Maybe a new fresh start will do wonders for this defense. Fangio did coach his time with Bradley Chubb as well. So if we just committed that big money to him, it could also be a sign of, hey, Fangio, come in, maximize this new toy we got in. Bada bing, bada swing. Let's get this man after the freaking quarterback. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see these big time moves. I like that McDaniel's getting more reign to pick his staff as well. If we do believe he is going to be this coach that is going to be with us for a long time, we need to start seeing him make these moves, filling out his staff that is comfortable with him, filling out a group of men that he trusts. And I love that by Coach McDaniel. Other awesome moves on the coaching end, for example, were like we keeping Daryl Bevel so far. Him declining interviews was huge, huge, huge. It really just goes to show this coaching staff that the Miami Dolphins are trying to build. More experience around McDaniel, more pieces that are going to complement him and put this Dolphins team in continued positions to succeed. Who would you guys want to see as defensive coordinator? My two fronters still got to be Fangio or Bowles. Bowles? Yeah, Todd Bowles. Those are the kind of guys that I want to see in this Miami Dolphins room. I want to see them making these moves for established veteran coordinators. None of this learning on the fly, especially considering McDaniel's, second year coach. He's still learning I hope that most of those rookie mistakes are gone after his rookie head coaching year. I'm hoping he greatly improves and greatly learns. But if he doesn't have to worry about defense at all, if he has a big time veteran defensive coordinator who's taking off that blow, who's taking off that load for him, that will go absolute wonders in making sure that this team is run smoothly and efficiently. I don't think McDaniel had a big hand in defense anyways this year, but maybe he was on the back of his mind going, shit, Boyer's not going to be able to hold it up for us. Snap, it's not going to go work too well, but we'll see how it starts moving, guys. I'm not too particularly sad about the coordinators, other coordinators we did lose. Like I said, it was a safeties coach, Steve Gregory, outside linebackers coach, Ty McKenzie, and an assistant linebacker coach, Steve Ferentz. All Flores guys, all fine dudes. Hopefully you guys, you're able to get a job back soon. Best of luck to you guys in your future endeavors. But you are no longer Miami Dolphins, and a tip of the cap to you. Hope we're enjoying Tinfoil Hat Thursdays so far. If you are tuning in, give it a like. It always helps to get us some more people. This is a fun little segment for me. It's usually not the longest show. Depends on the news of the day and up following of the week. But it does allow me to speculate and go a little funnier, a little more personality, a little bit more just wild takes, which I always enjoy. And I hope you guys do as well. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to answer, please feel free to fire away in the chat. If not, I will continue giving a little bit more takes on this coaching stuff, and then I'll move on to something new, something fresh. Boyer, also, good luck to you. I hope the best for you as well. Like I've said before, I didn't really mind if Boyer stayed or left. If he left, it better damn be for sure for an improvement at defensive coordinator. If he stayed, I would have been fine with him getting another year to kind of feel it out a little bit as his own man, his own defensive coordinator, further away from the Flores era. But it was not to be, so hats off to you. And we move on. Ooh, I definitely put this on. We've got to work on the tinfoil hat. Got to get it a little smoother. But, what else would I like to talk about with the tinfoil hat talk? What rabbit hole do I want to go break down into? Because as cool as it is to talk about these coaching staffs, you know what? Let's keep on we'll stay on the defensive side, guys. I think that this is going to be big moves for the defense. There was already talk about whether Xavier Howard is going to stay, whether Byron Jones is going to be on the out. I think it obviously depends on who we get, but there will be scheme changes. There will be some personnel shifts. I want to keep most of this core there. I do believe that we've got some great pieces, but those depth pieces on the outside, guys like Eric Rowe, who are just veterans who have ties to other regimes or who are more for specific situations. Guys like Rowe, maybe guys like Landon Roberts, Duke Riley, we might see us moving on from them as a new defensive coordinator. Maybe he wants to bring in some new veterans, some new outside players that he thinks can add a new spark to this team. I do think we're going to keep most of our big guys. The craziest thing I think we could say is maybe we'll move on from Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. I doubt that happens. Even with the tinfoil hat on, I think Xavier Howard is going to be a Dolphin at least for the rest of this contract. But Byron Jones, I think the writing is on the wall. He is going to be leaving. A new defensive coordinator is going to want a new toy as well, I believe, in the secondary. He might be happy with what he saw last year of the 2022 Dolphins corners, but no way is Byron Jones staying here. I think he's the next Dolphins big defensive move. Bye-bye, Byron, if he passes all health, if he's able to be traded, all this, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully get at least a third rounder for him, maybe a little bit more compensation, maybe a second rounder, but it is a big contract to take on as well. So Byron Jones, that is going to be an interesting one. But I think following the coaches, once we get a new defensive coordinator in and he fills out those rest of those little positions, I do think we are going to be shaking it up a bit on defense. Nothing too crazy, but for sure those outside role players. Thoughts as to whether we could hire within? I think that if we had, you know, worked a little bit of magic, maybe made a guy like Sam Madison defensive coordinator and kept Pat Surtain, that could have happened. Um, I think that would have been particularly just to move to make sure we didn't lose Pat, but he has already gone to FSU as a defensive back coach there. Good for him. He'll be able to get more experience. Hopefully help propel him to that head coaching NFL job that he would like for sure. I just don't think we have the personnel though to upgrade from within to become this new defensive coordinator. Again, I want an established, experienced defensive coordinator. While we do have some bright young minds, we have some interesting talent in-house. I don't think we should hire from within. We've got to hire from outside. Linebackers. I touched on guys like Duke Riley, Landon Roberts. I don't believe that we're going to see all our veterans coming back in the linebacker room. Jerome Baker, we know he's got that big contract. It'll be interesting to see how a new defensive coordinator tries to maximize him to his potential when he's been good to okay in the last couple of years since getting that big money, but he has not been what we envisioned him to be. I want to see someone who can maximize his potential as well. But again, I think that's a big room where we're going to be seeing a lot of switch up, especially when a new defensive coordinator comes in. Linebackers are one of the things that in a scheme particularly they change up a lot. So we're gonna see how they play with them new toys. But speaking of playing with toys, one of the reasons I believe that Josh Boyer was ultimately let go is because when you have Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, like Raekwon Davis and Melvin Ingram as well, filling it out there. When you've got that much talent on the D line and you are not generating pressure at will, when you have to send such a heavy blitz and then you're doing cover zero, and you're leaving no safety help over top and still all these gambles just to artificially generate pass rush instead of saying, I've got all this talent, let's let 4 guys do this work. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Boyer ended up having to be shown out the door. I'm a new defensive coordinator. I think priority number 1, as cool as it is getting new middle linebacker help, as cool as it would be, reshaping up our secondary, getting it back to its glory. I think the priority number 1 of any new defensive coordinator has to be maximize this front 7, maximize getting pressure. This should be one of our most terrifying units off of name talent alone. I get it. Ogbo went down. We had just traded for Chubb, though, so that should have been seamless, should have been, at the very least, no talent lost. Now, with Ogba coming back from injury, with Chubb getting another year used to being in Miami, with Jalen Phillips continuing to grow in his 3rd year, with Christian Wilkins hopefully having gotten the bag and getting this new motivation saying, I'm freaking rich now. Let me ball for the Miami Dolphins. I'm hoping any defensive coordinator is looking at that talented group and just licking their lips, just absolutely drooling, knowing that they are going to have fun with these new weapons, these new toys. Which is why I want Fangio. Like I've said, he has worked with Chubb. He was his coach for, I think, 2019 to 2021 in Denver. So I'm just saying, if you can unlock this powerhouse of a pass rushing unit, oh my God, the amount of change you would see on this Dolphins team. The secondary alone would look revamped, even if you kept it just the way it is right now. Better pass rush means less time for the QB, which means less time needed in coverage. It's simple. I suck at math, and that's simple enough for me, guys. I need to see a big boy move from a defensive coordinator. I think out of all of our defensive rooms, any level, secondary, like in the middle with the linebackers or our pass rushing unit, I think that front 4, that front 7 is the one group that doesn't really need too much playing around with. Those men are ready to rock and roll. We just need someone to put them in the position to succeed, maximize their potential. It is sorely missing. Please, please, please. How are we looking so far, though, everyone? I'm going to be fixing this little light right here because it died. How dare you die on me? Are there any questions before I continue speculating about the defense or about the Miami Dolphins? Anything you would like me to ask? Remember, when I got the tinfoil hat on, I just talk, and anything I like, anything is free to go. It's like my little shield, guys. It's literally the whole point. Um, Now, if we're going down a deep rabbit hole, a deep tinfoil hat thought, it's not a thought that Nando agrees with, but with the tinfoil hat, you know, I did see maybe thoughts of would we move on from Ogba to create some roster space, to create some cap space. We did just pay Chubb huge money to do a role similar to Ogba. Is Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins, Adley Chubb, and then bringing back a talent like Melvin Ingram, is that enough? Or should we just unleash all the three beasts, have those three crazy pass rushers, take advantage of the fact that Jalen Phillips is on a rookie deal and just be absolutely stacked? I definitely lean more towards stacking up that front pressure room, creating absolute havoc with just monsters staying fresh left and right. That'd be beautiful to me. Okay. I don't think we move on from Ogba. We wouldn't get as much value, especially coming off this injury. Byron Jones is a different story because we could sell him on, oh, he's fully healthy. He sat out for the year. For me, Ogba has to stay on this team. I want to see this unit become one of the most ferocious pass rushing units in the NFL. And that'd be a freaking wonderful thing to see. Okay. I cannot remember us getting consistent pressure since the Cameron Wake glory days. And even then, it was just one monster. Can you imagine having a whole unit just swarming left and right? God dang. Josh Allen, you can be scary all you want, but if you have those behemoths, those freaks of nature chasing after you, causing your life to be a living nightmare, I am down for that any time of the week. I think Jalen Phillips is going to keep growing. This season, we saw him get so close, just almost crossing the threshold of becoming a next level pass rushing talent. He almost hit double digit sacks. He, I think, is the king of the almost play. He's always just fingertips away from bringing down the enemy quarterback. But I think that year three, him continuing to grow. Remember, he just said he has played more NFL games officially this season than he has played in college. Let that sink in. 32 NFL games. He has played more games in the NFL than college. This is a man who is touching the tip of the iceberg on his potential. Someone who at it was said that every season he seemed to get bigger, faster, stronger, better at football. And in the NFL, with better conditioning programs, with better weights, better systems, everything for Jalen Phillips to go year three. I know I was one of the people saying he was going to be a sack monster this season. I really think the year three Jalen Phillips getting more work with guys like Melvin Ingram, Bradley Chubb, a brand new defensive mind ready to put him in positions to succeed. Oh, yeah. I think that Jalen Phillips is about to have the craziest season. I'm excited to follow him along the offseason. We always say, whoa, is this player bigger? I would genuinely like to see someone track his size from end of this season to the beginning of next. I do believe this man is going to get on a tear. Chandler's only 23 years old. 20 is he actually, is that, or am I just pulling that out of my butt? I think he is 23. Yeah, Jalen Phillips is 23 freaking years old. Okay, he is still barely touching his freaking peak, his absolute potential. This man's going to be a monster. Okay. He was 6'6", 250 pounds in high school. Okay. My man is 6'6", 263 pounds now. Like, my man just keeps getting bigger, stronger. I'm excited to see what he can do in year three. Can he push for the sack record? I think that if Chubb continues to demand such attention, Ogba as well there, and you get to keep a guy like Jalen Phillips fresh, hungry, I don't see why 16, 18 sacks is out of the question. I think that he has all the tools. His size speed combo is ridiculous. He's got the length as well, and he's been talented since day one. Think he can finally all put the pieces together in year three, and it'll be great, great to see. Because I know we say that a better pass rush also allows the secondary to have to play less time in perfect coverage, but a great secondary having great coverage also forces the QB to hesitate a bit, gives the pass rush a little bit more time to hit home. So they'll go hand in hand. I think as we get a secondary better, our pass rush will also improve. As our pass rush also improves, I think it'll make our secondary look even nicer. Really is a hand in hand. And it's kind of awesome how it just complements each other. It used to be one of the coolest strengths of the Dolphins. It really helped us mitigate the fact that we didn't have true help in the middle of the field with our linebackers. This year, we took a tad of a step back. At times, it seemed to all come together, but I'm hoping next year it's through and through, always firing ready to go. Still sticking on the defensive side, we'll go back to the secondary because while I've talked about Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, I think we've got a lot of potential on the defense on coming back from injury, guys. You look at Trill Williams, you look at Brandon Jones. Trill Williams this year was supposed to have the year that Cater Kohu ended up happening. And I've talked about why that is pretty cool that Cater Kohu was able to have that little silver lining. It was able to work out for him. I think that Trill Williams, when he ends up coming back to this offseason, again, defensive coordinator, might want to say, should I revamp up the secondary? Should I start looking at what pieces could be returning? A guy like Trill Williams, I think, will be a phenomenal addition to this defensive unit. I think Cater Kahu will continue to have a great year too. He will continue to develop. He was already the 37th ranked rookie, the 37th ranked corner. Sorry, as rookies, he was a top 10 rookie defender. Wow, he's insane. Darth Cater. But I think that Trill Williams, 6'1", 205 pounds, is going to add some nice size back to this secondary. Really beef it up. Really add a physical presence. The Orangeman. Shout out to fellow Syracuse legend. Okay, my guy Trill. I hope that he is able to have a nice year. Number 6, come back to us nice and ready. Speaking of coming back nice and ready, though, Brandon Jones, we missed his surefire tackling. Such a reassuring sign, always seeing him involved in almost every play, whether it was in the backfield, whether it was lighting up a QB, whether it was rocking someone over the middle. Brandon Jones, Blitz Boy Brandon, was the absolute monster, tearing his ACL. Also a damn shame. Hoping he's able to rebound nice and strong. Wanted a number 29 jersey there for the longest, like I always say, but Brandon, come back and we'll be rocking with it, man. I really hope our secondary has a monster bounce back of a year. I expect it to, but we really will have to see. And I think that's something that, a defensive coordinator hopefully will be able to put it out there. I'm pretty confident though, because Sam Madison is staying. That is something that I think he will continue to grow. Someone that maybe further down the line could be a defensive coordinator for us or in the NFL in general. I think we've already seen that what he's done despite losing players to injury, despite having some talent issues at time. Next man up mentality was always there for Sam Madison. Patrick Tain as well, which is why he got his own promotion or job opportunity going to FSU. But it's pretty freaking awesome. Pretty freaking awesome to have Sam, a Dolphins legend, continue to grow as a coach here. I think further down the line, he could be a nice defensive coordinator. But I think that's one of the reasons why we ended up finding defensive coordinator Josh Boyer. There was talks that he had discovered Cater Kahu. I think it's pretty clear to see that Sam Madison is the one who really was able to get the eye on him. At the very least, he's the one who developed him and groomed him. Another offseason with Sam Madison in his ear, coaching him up. Another year of just absolute confidence. I'm sure he's going to get some love when at the end of the season when they give out little awards to rookies and whatnot. I know he is a player that, we didn't really expect. And it's not exactly like it's out of the park fine. Like it's not like he was Sauce Gardner, like at the end of the day, for an undrafted free agent at a Texas A&M Commerce Division II to come out and ball like this, oh yeah, I believe the sky is high for him. Some people were trying to compare him to Nick Needham and that chip he had coming out as a UDFA. And while I agree there is that flair of that there, I got the tinfoil hat on, baby. I think that Kader Kahu is going to be in the likes of Xavier Howard, a true vaunted cornerback one who with the ability to lock someone up. And the reason I say this is because he's already miles ahead of what we thought his development was going to be from, having to be a fill-in because of injuries to what I said, the 37th ranked corner in the NFL. That sounds low, but remember, every team has 2 starting corners. There's 32 teams. It means as long as you're top 64, you're a monster. At 37 already, at that young age, Mr. Cater, one of your biggest problems was being a little handsy, getting some unfortunate penalties, defensive holdings, PIs, all this. Yet that was the same issue that seemed to play Mr. Xavier Howard. I'm hoping we see Cater go clean up those hands and somewhere mid-year 2 flips the switch and just absolutely becomes lights out. And if there are signs of that happening in the offseason, we'll know when the Dolphins seem to be a little slow on upgrading our cornerback group. I do believe it's because they're going to have a lot of confidence in Cater, a lot of confidence in Trill Williams coming back, a lot of confidence in guys like Brandon Jones coming back and helping up that safety. The Dolphins are in a nice position, I believe, with their players. A lot can be happening in the future on defense, but some players I think are going to be coming back from injuries and making big surprises. Some guys are going to be taking year 2, year 3 leaps. And then we'll be seeing a lot of familiar faces on the Dolphins be leaving. A lot of faces that have been comforting or familiar to us. Wow, that was the dumbest statement ever, Nando. A lot of familiar faces that were familiar to us. I apologize. I had to give myself a slight slap across the face because of how stupid that was. It's late. Okay, I've had a long day, between school, work, an interesting job interview that I would have loved to have gone better. There's nothing worse than having a job interview and leaving and thinking you could have done better. I know, because this is the first time I've ever felt that way. Usually I knock them out of the park. And this time, just wasn't totally in it. And that's very frustrating. But I'm hoping I'm able to bounce back in the future. Hoping, my next interview always goes better. You usually go phenomenal, and if somehow that person ever ends up watching this, consider Nando for all your marketing needs. If not, oh well. But hopefully it goes well for me. I'll be letting you guys know that. This is a pretty quick Tinfoil Hat Tuesday. I just wanted to get a little bit of Josh Boyer and coaching thoughts off, and then really harp and talk about this Miami Dolphins defense, which I do believe is going to be facing some pretty interesting changes. A new defensive coordinator means a big switch up for this Dolphins, obviously scheme-wise, but we could see some personnel changes. Remember, we also saw safeties coach, outside linebacker, and assistant linebackers coach leave. A defensive coordinator is going to be filling in those with his guys. Granted, I got to believe he's going to be talking with McDaniel and Grier. They're going to be working together. This is another effort to get Mike McDaniel to have his guys in that office, which you want to see, of course, But at the end of the day, I do want us to get a veteran defensive coordinator, a guy who knows his stuff, not learning on the job, guy who is ready to bring in a new culture, ready to bring in this new mindset and completely reorganize and re-energize this Dolphins defense. Keep the big names, make sure you put Chubb, Agba, Wilkins in best position to succeed. Get out of Jalen Phillips' way as he tears it up for a year 3 leap. Hopefully, Kader Kahu is able to clean up some technique stuff and ball out year 2 as well. And we see guys like Trill Williams, guys like Brandon Jones bounce back from their injuries and get ready to hit the ground running. I'm down to revamp a little bit our secondary if it means moving on from Byron Jones, filling in a new corner there, or just using that money and beefing up things like middle linebacker. That'd be freaking sick to totally turn that and revamp that around. But who knows, guys? So thank you all for tuning in to Nando Talk. This has been a pleasure. If you're still here, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you tomorrow, hopefully with the guests, if not for just some fins up, chins up Friday. So fins up, chins up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.